you. Come money, me say when you look a rat you. You say you the money, me start to stamp at the statue. Say they like a catch you, but they got the nothing got you. Take this bit of money, girl, and say that is not you. One day the man about them up, they not gonna stop you. Put it in the kitchen, so my fiber like a fat too. The singers and DJs and social media's coming at you. Big ball, 300% free. Big ball, garbage pile of it. Big ball, give the teacher the free. Big ball, I see corruption. Big ball, mash down the people they own. Big ball, every day appear arms out. Big ball, appear money them a tea. Big ball, and them a sell out the beach. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy candle, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch a blind and a resort to crime. You can't for me again. From me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The urgent the promise it done and them not deliver. Cut up the youth and rough and it's down in the whatever. Them a bull money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them smell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people start and thief when them fell. Big bun, what they treat the market man. Big bun, what them a treat the cat man. Big bun, what they treat the peanut man. Big bun, what them a treat the dirt man. Big bun, what them a treat the son man. Big bun, what them a treat policeman. Big bun, all them a treat soldier man.
Stibbidim day, stibbidim day, stibbidim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we lovely. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Global Television Group. It is your Drive Time London program. Good evening from wherever, good afternoon from wherever you are logging in from. Good evening to those on the X, on Twitch, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good evening to my community of parity and all my family members. Good evening. Good evening to all my subscribers and membership holders. Good evening to viewers and commenters. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Let me do my roll call. Good evening, Annie Smith, Natalia Freeman. Good evening, David Jervis, Elaine Turner. Good evening, Patricia Matthews. Good evening, Kate M. Sunshine. Dorothy Gordon, good evening. Arlene Foster, good evening, how are you? Arlene Forrest, good evening as well, good evening. Patricia Matthews. Dion Johnson, good evening and welcome. Cynthia B, good evening. Good evening, thank you for joining. JC, Dorothy Elliott. Debbie Jervis, Pauline James, Mary Messenger TV. Liebert Peart, Paula Shelley, Pauline James, Abina Sarkodi, Miranda Ruddock, Marcia Thomas, Violet Watson, Altia Lacey, Cousin Myrna Wagwan. Rosie D, good evening and welcome. Navlet Blake, good evening. Brittany Lyon, Melbourne Hus, good evening. Sorry, I may have messed up your last name. Good evening and welcome. Beat and Teach, Wagwan. Thank you all for joining us. Tony Tall, sorry I wasn't I totally forgot I had an appointment this afternoon, which fell in line, Precious Allen, with my earlier show. So that's why I had to cancel. So sorry about that. But while going to and fro, I was listening in to Diana Acton's, the press conference, AmericanTV.com. But before I get to Favor and them lot, I want to say to the Reform United Church, Rosalie Ricketts, of the United Kingdom, a mere apology, a simple apology, is not enough. Half the time people apologize is to appease or to calm anger and tension. What you should rather do is lobby the Anglican Church and the British monarchy, as well as those crooks in the Vatican and all over Europe, return or stolen books and or stolen artifacts. Return all our something we want to have in our museum and make money. Return all our book them. We want to thief and own up for ourselves and I say own up first. Produce this type of knowledge and this and that. That's what you ought to do. Go and lobby the palace. Go and lobby the British state, the French state, the Italian state, the Spanish state, and tell them we want all of our stolen books and our stolen artifacts. And not only we want back parcels of land that the church still owns. We want you to get off all of our lands that you're still holding ownership to. All of those land that you've stolen. Just move off of them. A mere apology, it's not enough. And I am here to tell you this evening, take that apology and stuck it up Charles and Camilla until you can come with something better. Because this doesn't even pave the way for a lawsuit. So take that and put it where no one sees it. Simple girl. Good evening and welcome. Ruda Otada. Sota Jai apology. Cornell C. Georgia Dennis. Andrea Daly. Good evening and welcome. Who know enough faint heart apology to appease. Wanna go stop thief on the people them every Sunday as well? Because wanna like to choose the sin we wanna repent of and apologize for. Run one list. So don't think that we're mesmerized by your empty apology. We want everything back. Muta Baruka have a dub poet say, give me this, give me that. Give me all of your thief from me. And all of that we want back. The little source of Jai Throat apology. Take it and stuck it up Charles and Camilla. My girl there, we did in a London, we did in a Europe, we did London, and I make all sort of blunder, but I do believe this image, if I'm not mistaken, is possibly from the Jamaican consulate, the Jamaican High Commission in London. I do believe, I may be wrong, but it's where this photograph would have been taken over his rant over the weekend, where the previous prime ministers and the wall, Portia Simpson, Kate M., how are you? And PJ Patterson face was covered. The photo that was put out to Terry Long, James, how are you? The photo that was put out to Terry Long Instagram page, because these politicians have a way of blaming their staff who work for them. Them never do anything wrong yet, you know. Them never sanction anything. Them never approve anything. It is not done by them. People will have access to them account do these things. Louis V, how are you? But the hypocrisy of wanting to quell the argument, Annie Jones, what he comes out with, it's a photograph of him hugging the former prime minister, or first female prime minister, and may possibly be the only, based on how things are going for a very long time. Ton of flavor, how are you? So after him disrespected the former prime ministers, he might go pose with Mama P to make it look like, oh, that is not a part of me. Maureen Vassell, Monica Hawthorne, Christine Gilbert, that is not a part of me. It's just to show you how the Jamaica Labour Party regime operates. It's about them. Jamaica is a JLP country. You understand? Jamaica is a JLP country, and everything must be about the JLP. This is why they are so embarrassed in public right now with this whole diaspora conference. So till they can just continue going around tone deaf, telling lies as if we're blind and we're deaf. David, how are you? JP. But let us listen. Prepare for turn up on a tour. Let us read. Prepare for turn up on a tour, because I don't know, so when I don't see Duppy, and when I don't hear Duppy, a solution to that is standing on your big toe and grunt and bear it. But we have a few people to listen to, but we're going to start with the education minister. All the Jamaican journalists, them. We're going to teach them how not to be dunce. We're going to teach Jamaican journalists this evening how to stand on their feet and ask questions and not on their knees or in a backshot position. Call Jamaican journalists, them. Let us listen to Faval, and then we'll come back after the gibberish done.
So that we can begin to see improved reading skills at all levels of the education system, and so that we can begin to see more of our children liking and performing well in math, science, and other subject areas. Beyond the subjects, we want to inculcate in our students pro-social behaviors. And by that I mean those behaviors that benefit other people or society as a whole, such as helping, sharing, donating, cooperating, and volunteering. We want our children to be respectful, to value education and skills training, to value cleanliness in their immediate environments and the wider Jamaica, to see virtue in work, cultivate honesty, empathy, to obey laws and rules and conform to socially accepted behaviors. This all leads
Favor advice not sound like it need a walking stick for aid it or a Zimmer frame.
into the education philosophy that we will seek to inculcate in Jamaicans. Following extensive consultations with key stakeholders, including students, student leaders, parents, members of the church community, teachers, principals, education officers, and other technocrats, and discussion at cabinet. All of this took a whole year for us to go through. This morning, we are pleased to announce that the education philosophy for Jamaica has been finalized. It has been disseminated to the education system on Schools Bulletin 49-2024. This bulletin was sent to our principals on April 3rd, 2024. Education system to the philosophy. Happening today in Montego Bay is yet another awareness building exercise at which the team will also remind principals of the education philosophy. It is also published on our website. And just so Jamaicans are aware, the Schools Bulletin is the ministry's official communication channel to our principals, on whom we depend to further disseminate information that they receive in the schools bulletins to teachers and staff. We also are depending on our principals and teachers to bring the philosophy alive in the school communities via devotions, discussions, and other activities. This morning, a recommendation of the Jamaica Education Transformation Commission Report 2021, also known as the Orlando Patterson Report, is that we widely promote an education philosophy which sees learning as a collaborative interaction between teachers, students, and the curriculum, and pursue efforts to ensure widespread acceptance. Let me pause to invite Omari and Leanna from Mona High School. They will read the education philosophy this morning for us.
Uno listen good. Uno listen good.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Omari Johnson.
And I'm Leanne Smith.
As a former student of Mona High, the school of choice, I will now present the philosophy of education for Jamaica. Under God, the Jamaican educational philosophy embraces diverse learning capacities and styles, aiming to nurture each learner's full potential.
We provide a comprehensive education, blending academics and vocational pursuits with value-based teachings and life skills.
Our focus is on fostering community harmony, appreciating our cultural heritage, promoting inclusivity, environmental stewardship, and respect for all.
Through this approach, we aim to cultivate learners' understanding of themselves, respect for humanity, and love for country as embodied in our national vision, anthem, and pledge.
Thank you.
All right.
I don't understand what just happened here.
Thank you so
Don't
much.
ask me.
I'll move on to item 2. The second item speaks to the continued efforts by the team from the Ministry of Education and Youth, including our teachers, the commitment, expertise.
Well, and the Norman Ferguson, you did over the committee, you're acting at the comment as well. I don't understand what favor they are talking about. You were there, you listened to this already, maybe you can help the public understand what the woman answer.
And passion are undoubtedly on demonstration as we celebrate Math Week all week long this week. This year's theme, Adding Up the Excitement, Math Rocks, is both a well-needed affirmation and reminder of the subject's importance in our daily lives and in the direction we are moving as a country to meet the labor force demands. On Monday, the National Mathematics team collaborated with the University of the West Indies Mathematics Department to host our first joint awards ceremony celebrating excellence in mathematics. I also extend congratulations to the teachers and note that these teachers would be responsible for 2,200 students from 101 primary and preparatory schools entering the qualifying rounds of the junior competition of the Jamaica Mathematics Olympiad and the approximately 480 students from 29 high schools who entered the senior competition. The final round of the junior competition saw 988 students sitting the exams, of which 62 were recognized for their achievements. For the senior competition, recognition was given to 50 top performers from grades 7 to 11. We applaud all initiatives that aim at improving the math scores of our students. And we want to recognize the top 3 math teachers for the year. First, second, and third places. All those teachers came from our primary schools. In first place, Ms. Kamika Ingram from Green Pond Primary School. Second place, Yanika Pitt from Mount Nebo Primary School. And in third place, we have Anicia Walker, Savannah Mar Inclusive Academy. Congratulations. We applaud you for your hard work in a subject area that many persons find difficult. And now turning to the final item, the Prime Minister's Youth Awards for Excellence. This Saturday, April 20th, we will celebrate and highlight the achievements of our youth at the upcoming Prime Minister's Youth Awards for Excellence. I want to acknowledge all the 50 nominees and all the young people who are doing all they can to drive change and make a difference. As you know, the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Excellence is part of the government's drive to nurture excellence at the national level. Under this initiative, outstanding youth are recognized for their remarkable achievements in various fields, including academics, agriculture, arts and culture, community development, entrepreneurship, environmental protection, journalism, national leadership, new media, science and technology, and in sports. There are requirements for each category, and those are specific to their respective fields. The standard requirements for eligibility is that the nominees must meet the award criteria for the category in which they are nominated and be a Jamaican national or naturalized citizen for at least 3 years. They should be between the age of 15, they are between the age of 15 and 29 years, and an upstanding member of society. The Prime Minister's National Youth Awards for Excellence enables us to celebrate our young leaders as the role models, and we do this publicly during the award ceremony coming up. Our young leaders represent an example of what it means to be self-motivated whilst working towards the greater good of adding to the high-functioning demographic of the country's human capital. Sustained youth participation and leadership are critical in assisting the Ministry of Education and Youth with the implementation of youth development initiatives. So please join me in magnifying the good things that are taking place in the education and youth spaces. Thank you very much. Transform education.
Everybody, remember me did tell you no, say when you no sit up or hear up, turn up pound up big toe. It's a way to get through the problem. We have more problem to go through. It's important, Lord Jesus. The problem is if Favor herself does not understand what she's delivering to us, it's going to be very, very difficult for any of us to understand. But Dr. Cosson tried to explain or sought to explain the education philosophy for Jamaica. Oh, God.
Minister, since you are, I'm walking toward the person with a question from TVJ, but Minister, there's one online that is asking you to be very clear in terms of the contrast or comparison between the new education philosophy and what previously existed.
Dr. Chu?
Dr. Troop, I'm going to have Dr. Troop speak to that. Come over here, Dr. Troop. Because as I mentioned, we spent a whole year.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Dr. Troop, go ahead.
So, the Ministry of Education is transforming, and as we transform, we have to reflect on how we view our learners, how we view the players in education. Where we're coming from, the system was built on constructivism, cognitive perspectives. We have Robert Bandura guiding some of our philosophy. We have Pavlov guiding some of what we do in the classroom. Over the years, we have had to reflect. What do these theorists say about learning? And what do we believe as a country? And what do we want for our people? And so we went back as a ministry because predominantly we supported the behaviorist perspective. We look at things that are good and we cherish them and we laud them and we put good things out there and we expect that students will comply. And that's how we have been pouring in our teachers and pouring in our students. That's how we have been prepared as teachers in our colleges. Predominantly, what do we bring to the process? In transformation, we're talking about predominantly the constructivist perspective. What do we believe about our learners? What do they bring to the process? As a country, as a ministry, we have to give recognition to the agency in our learners. They come to us with talents. They come to us with abilities. How do we hone that? How do we meet them where they are? That's what's different. What's different, you will also see that we have made God the center of what we do. Jamaica is a Christian country, and that philosophy is important for how we are, how we treat each other. We have made the vision of this country a significant component of the philosophy. We have made the pledge that we recite every single day, and of course our anthem, an important part of that philosophy. We have been listening to the cries of Jamaica. We have been talking about our students are, the behavior of our students. Well, we have looked at how we can exist in harmony as a community in education. And so it includes what the parents will do. It includes what our teachers will do. It includes what we believe about our teachers. Are they responding? Are they just giving and pouring in? Are they the guides on the side, or are they the sage on the stage? That's the difference. So our teachers are being positioned to be the guides on the side. Content is available. We don't lack content. In the past, we were trained as teachers to hone and deposit. Now, content is everywhere. How do we get our learners to access that content? How do we lift them to the level of analysis and critical thinking? How do we say, look at this content in the public space, what has been said about needs? How do we critically analyze that for the facts? That's what the philosophy will do. So that's different. It's about how we see our learners. It's about how we see our teachers. It's about how we position our players in education for the collective good of this country. Thank you.
Thank you for that comprehensive response, Dr. Troop. So we're putting our students at the center.
That comprehensive response. So you see, we and them hear something totally different. Because what I heard from Cosson Troop just now, it was just waffling through the wilderness till you find a dirt track to find your way upon the main road. If you heard anything that you understood from whether be Favor or Dr. Troop, you wonder why our education system is depleting. Because you have an Ivy League like Fayetteville, where I read like basic school student. And Dr. Troop with the grinning effect like Nesta Morgan, just come and grin our way through a question and left the public confused. What the man the name? Gospel. Hold on, a gospel student. We're not good at left and we're confused. But I'm going to play one journalist phone and then we're going to a wire way upon the journalist them.
TVJ News. All right, my question is for the Minister of Education. Minister, how many private facilities like the one in Treasure Beach, that's Atlantis Leadership Academy, that seemingly caters to predominantly U.S. children, is the ministry aware of in Jamaica? And I have one more. In light of the allegations there, has there been any revision to how the ministry engages these private institutions, whether new or existing?
Okay, so in addition to the one that we became aware of in Treasure Beach, we're also aware of another one in another part of Jamaica that we are investigating. I wish not to say exactly where it is currently. Of course, as you know, any educational institution offering services to our children must be registered with the Ministry of Education and Youth. We have a whole department set up for that. This particular institution in Treasure Beach was not registered with the Ministry of Education and Youth. They did make inquiries at some point in time, some years ago, but we've searched our records and they were not registered. So they're operating in a space that is outside of the regulatory framework. They came to our attention and we acted immediately. And as you know, as reported in the press, an investigation is happening right now. The children who were there were taken by the CPFSA. Some of them have already been returned to their parents or other institutions in the U.S. And we continue to monitor and provide for the ones that are still here as they go through the process.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just a follow-up to that question, Minister. As it relates to the other institution, may I ask if that one was also registered as well?
That one is registered.
Just two more questions. As it relates to teacher retention right now, I want to ask, what's the status for guidance counselors? I know there was one institution in St. Catherine, I think it was Independence Primary, that was crying out for another guidance counselor, or at least two more. May I ask if you could just provide a status on that, and also shadows for schools with behavioral issues?
Right, so an additional guidance counselor was provided for Independence Primary School. With regards to shadows, which are those individuals who are with a special needs student in our schools. It could be an activity that requires them to be with the child to and from school. It could be an activity in classroom where somebody is required to read to the child so that they can comprehend and give questions and so on. There are a range of activities provided by what we call shadows. We have at least 400 of them in the system currently that are paid for by the Ministry of Education and Youth. And I want to say, when we look at our requests for shadows still, we have over 300 requests still for shadows. So there is still a gap that we need to fill. It is an important offering of the education system for children with special needs.
Minister, if you could say, there are just two more questions online that I'm seeing. One person is asking, with the new school philosophy, is there a more broader, comprehensive look at the school plan as opposed to looking at the curriculum, the school plan, meaning that is there a move to address the physical plant, the layout of classrooms, etc.?
Right, so coming out of the Orlando Patterson-led report, one of the big pillars of transformation is infrastructure and technology. And yes, we have to not only repair the existing plant, ensuring that those critical repairs are done, but we have to look differently at how our schools are configured, what is the material that we use to build them, because just this morning listening to the news, I'm learning that the temperatures are going to be even hotter than we experienced last year. So there's a lot to be done in our schools with regards to the physical infrastructure that we have to take on. We've started already in our thinking in terms of describing just the new format for schools, that they have to incorporate different things into them as we go forward. I just want to say, given the size of the education sector, because when you look, we have 1,009 primary and secondary schools across Jamaica. I don't think Jamaicans realize the quantum of what we're dealing with. Is going to take us some time to get all those schools retrofitted or rebuilt in order to incorporate the new environment in which we're operating going forward.
Thank you, Minister. And the person did say that they were alluding to the heat in particular. They just had a follow-up, and I'll ask the follow-up. And the other question, that is the final question I'm seeing. So is there anything that's going to be done about how we deal with students battling the heat, especially since it started getting so hot and school goes up until the end of June, first week in July? Is there any special measure that the government will be putting in to deal with that? And the final question that I saw that came in before that follow-up was just an update that they wanted on the STEM schools that's being built by the government.
All right. And I'm gonna ask Dr. Troop to help me on both those questions.
Dr. Troop is gonna come on another walkthrough again.
Okay, so with respect to the plans for the heat, so currently the technical team is building out what we call, or updating what we call, our water resiliency plan. So we know there is a water challenge, and coming out of COVID, we have some learning opportunities there, and that we are building on. So we have a network of what's happening in our schools, which are the schools getting piped water, tanks, needing upgrades, repairs. We have a cadre of private providers who will deliver water to our schools if it is that there's a challenge in our schools. We measure the storage capacity of the storage facilities in our schools and how long they will be able to last. And so we put a rhythm in place to respond to the needs of our school with respect to water. As we look at the physical infrastructure, as Minister said, this will be an ongoing effort. And if you look at the transformation report, predominantly the cost that was estimated for the 8 years program, 2/3 of that has to do with the infrastructure improvement in our schools. So we have to look at how we retrofit the spaces. But interestingly, as we are going through the conversations with our students, we actually had a series of interviews with our students, and we talk about what do you want for your learning space, and we talk to the principals about what do you want for your learning space. Our principals will interestingly say, we need classroom, we need to build big structures. And our students repeatedly say to us, we want to be outside. We want to be free, we want to play, we want to move. So some of the things that we have built in as we are building out and upgrading.
Me not go kill it no more, because it's hard for even me beer, but it is important sometimes that we listen to these people. But before I progress, I want to say to those on the Producer Wayne Global TV, I'm asking 24 of you to subscribe. That will take the channel to 13K. Thank you very much. And if you have not hit the like button yet, please do so. That's the support we're asking for on the channel. Those of you who come on, we're big up in a bit. But to the journalists, When I ask ministers question, one of the question could be, young lady, apart from the Ruel Reed and Grace McLean money, we recently found out, minister, that a portion of 1.7 trillion has gone missing from the education budget. Would you like to provide a response to that? The permanent secretary of the Department of Education is a person right on spot there to answer that question. That is the person in the Department of Education that is responsible for submitting the financial expenditure every financial year. And billions gone missing out of the education budget. And we have favor and the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education. And no, ask her to provide a response to the billions that the Auditor General has said is unaccounted for in her department. Then if academia lead the department, we pick them half a dance. If Ivy League done so, me no want to book up on basic school. Everything that is happening in our country is a crying shame. Every part of our institution or agencies of government is collapsing under lies and corruption. Actually, we know no can bear it out, but not once. The question to do with the heat, not once have they mentioned the word air condition. Them go around in all kind of circle, water day, fruits day, this day, and all sort of day. But not once have I heard them refer to air condition. Them talk about new climate, whatever. Not once have I heard them talk about air condition through schools. Then if those questions are not allowed, Christine, these journalists must follow my instruction and drop the mainstream thing and come on YouTube when you can ask relevant questions. When you already have a journalist credential, a whole heap of British journalists now COVID. Drop the act and go on social media. Go do the investigative work and investigative publishing. But you can't expect if you call on journalists and reporters when you not tremble to ask a question. When you have a criminal thieving minister in front of you and you cannot ask a minister about the billions stolen from the education budget. Meanwhile, you hear the minister that they tell you about Mickey Mouse money. They might tell you about Mickey Mouse money where they might invest in education, and you don't want to ask them about the billions they cannot account for. When you take off on a badge and give to we, the vloggers. Because other than Zara Burton, the whole on the table and under bed. Other than Zara Burton in Jamaica, everybody in the journalistic world on the table and on the bed. Because we're so wrapped up with politicians. And sometimes, to be honest, you have to be fair. It is not these foot soldier reporters or anchors. Some of them would want to do better. The truth is, the problem is the white private sector or black white affiliated private sector at the top of the pecking chain called editors and chief editors. Those are the censors. in the broadcasting world. Your editors and your chief editors, they are the gatekeepers. They're the ones who block true investigation. A lot of these people in mainstream media, they will never employ Zara Burton, or if they do, she will become compromised because she would undo our brilliant investigations. And editors close it down to protect government and them feeding chain. The dope is still alright, Juliet, you know. One article come out today. Speaker praise Curtis' dedication to duty. A girl, you're mad. Hold on, me. That girl, you're mad out. Let me try clear this thingy. Hold on for me, please. You see, so the woman then not smiling with you. I think that is quite evident and obvious. Let's read answer to Juliet Holness. Her strong work ethic, sound organization skills, and keen attention to details saw her being elevated to the position. Hold on. Sorry. Saw her being elevated to the position of clerk to the House in 2001. And since that time, she has commendably led her staff in providing the necessary procedural and administrative support to members of both houses. Read an excerpt from a tribute. Read an excerpt from a tribute to the then clerk to the House, Valerie Curtis, by the presiding officer of Parliament. The former clerk received a plaque with the tribute from Tom Tavares Simpson, President of the Senate, and Juliet Holness, Speaker of the Representative, on the 26th of March, in recognition of her work ahead of her retirement on April the 6th. The tribute which Curtis obtained on the 26th at the meeting with the Speaker was in stark contrast to a letter reprimanding, a letter of reprimand released the day before the presiding officer of the lower house. In the letter that was sent to 62 lawmakers, the Speaker accused Ms. Curtis of gross dereliction of duty and bringing Parliament into disrepute. The letter triggered national debate and called from members of civil society, trade union leaders, and parliamentary opposition for its withdrawal. The Speaker claimed that the former clerk failed to comply with her ruling in November last year relating to the tabling of report on public body from the Auditor General. We would like to pay tribute to Miss Valerie Annie Curtis, who has exceptionally served the House of Representatives for 28 years. The opening paragraph of the tribute stated, "Being with her joining the staff of Parliament as an assistant clerk in 1995. Miss Curtis demonstrated a dedication to duty, which led to her being appointed deputy clerk in 2006, and the citation continues. Tavares Simpson, the House Speaker, also highlighted Curtis's commitment to upholding parliamentary ideals. According to the presiding officer of the upper and lower house, respectively, the former clerk displayed a people-centered approach to parliamentary administration and oversee several initiatives aimed at modernizing parliamentary operations. She was hailed for representing Jamaica as parliamentary conference across the globe and for being integral to the staging of international parliamentary conference here in Jamaica. Also, the hosting of a myriad of visiting international delegations to Parliament. The Senate and Speaker, the Senate President and Speaker concluded that Ms. Curtis has left an indelible mark in the Parliament, and it is hope that she will enjoy her well-served retirement. In an exclusive interview with Ms. Curtis, the former Administrator of Parliament noted that even though the plaque with the tribute might have been prepared before the letter of reprimand was done, she wondered why it was still presented to her in the light of this scathing missive that was made public by the Speaker. At the March 26th meeting, which was her last before she went on retirement, Curtis also gave a number of gifts, including bouquet, orchids, an assortment of liquors and floral arrangement. It's just a plain load of hypocrisy. But as Miss Curtis says, when she come back to work, the wicked, insulting woman turned to her and asked her, Miss Curtis, you all right? And she answered rightly by telling her, how do you expect me to feel, Juliet Holness? How would you feel if it was you that was thrown out publicly under the bus like that? These are my paraphrasing. But I can't know exactly how the woman feel when she was thrown out to the wolves, wasn't even contacted before she was thrown out publicly to the wolves. To date, no apology or retraction, even though we now know, which Juliet Holness never knew then, that disciplinary was out of her jurisdiction. She still haven't withdrawn the letter, nor have she apologized. But you can have it put out in a paper how she was dedicated to her duty. Of course, she's a dedicated woman to her duty. She's well experienced. She's been there for a long time. The confusion never arrives, Juliet Holness, until you get there. Since you get in a parliament with your pain and hurt and your feelings and your ownership of your husband's house. It is where the problem started, and this is where the problem is coming from. This current chaos and breakdown and inexperience and incompetency in our parliament. We don't say hold on a wicked and corrupt and thief. But the breakdown of the operation and administration of parliament, we've never seen it before. I don't know if nobody else know about it, but we have never seen it before in our system. It's like lawlessness. Them I walk through Cane Field, I try to find one dirt chuck to come out on main road. It looked like that a gone in a fluid system because nothing really happened in our system anymore. Nothing at all. It's just a ton of back and forth. What our parliament has turned out to over the last few weeks and months, it's a continuation of back and forth. He said, she said, we never know what to do. So everybody just become inexperienced overnight. So now that Miss Curtis gone, young lady, that when the report come, and you never know what to do with it. Did you sought at any point to take advice? How then we are going to trust you now, say you are going to know your job? Where you, if you never know as Miss Curtis deputy, what to do with a report, how you know the clerk is going to know what to do if just a couple weeks ago you were confused as the deputy clerk as how to deal with a report? So how you are going to know now? Are you one of them what it's going to be? And Juliet say so. People are being madness going in our parliament. And the sooner Jamaica people get up and get a grips and take back their country, this mess is going to continue. It now going to just stop overnight. But Andrew, they sit down and wait for any cabinet reshuffle you come with. Noreen Robinson, Kenny C, Jamaican Carlos, Real Sweet, Elaine Turner, Christine Gilbert, Rosalie Ricketts, Les. Who else have I seen? David, Joan Brown, Pamela Okolo, Relaxing Melodies. Colleen Stewart, Yvonne Green. I think I saw Yvonne Johnson as well. Norman Ferguson, Wagwan Bros. But people are be a mess. But Jamaica people, I wonder if we don't know say a part of Andrew reshuffle. Maya Brown, I saw that name earlier. Tony Tall. Veteran, agency driver 5. Wagwan, one of them. Yes, Maya Brown, good evening. Donette Harriet, good evening. If Jamaica people don't get up and push back on this situation, if Andrew had to have to step down, you might just have Juliet Holness at the helm of the party. Be careful, Jamaica. Raleigh Roberts. You might just have the new leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, if them have to throw Andrew under the bus before the next general election. Juliet is being lined up because them want a first woman in the Jamaica Labour Party, because you know People's National Party have them first female prime minister. But does Juliet have the credibility or popularity, given the amount of thieving and corruption where Juliet Holness involved in her? Ronnie Herland, how are you? Given how she have brought our parliament into disrepute, of recent, given the the result in her constituency from the just gone local government election, we need to change the term illicit 6 and say the Prime Minister, his wife, and the illicit 4. As some are going to start calling Christopher, O'Neill Gale, Rena. We need to start calling it the Prime Minister, his wife, and the other illicit 4. Them can't drape with. Because we know them are thief. Them they in front of court for stealing. Them nearly get prosecuted by the Integrity Commission prosecution, corruption or whatever the long twisted name. But let me ask the court while it just run across my mind. I wonder if we now go rule Sapala extension was unconstitutional. Because we want to see the back of Parla, you know. I wonder what the ruling, and this Friday the ruling will come down, the Jamaica Supreme Court, beat and teach, no so? You read over Granite Sus. No Friday the ruling to come down. Maxine Cummins, how you do? She already, Cornell, she already, yes, Friday beat and teach her. So that's the same thing where we are going to sit down and wait to hear if the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of the People's National Party or in favor of Paula, True Love. And if they've ruled against Paula Llewellyn, will Paula Llewellyn and the Jamaican government take it to the Privy Council? That's something, Lilith Lockerbie, we're going to have to wait and see. Or if Miss Llewellyn if there's a ruling against Miss Llewellyn on constitutional extension, let's see if Miss Llewellyn will follow the ruling from the court or she will challenge the ruling at the Privy Council, because we're going to have to plan with bucket of salt Friday. If the court no rule against our Friday, then we'll have to buy a bucket of salt. That may I tell you no, because the only way we're going to get rid of her is salt her and put her in a hankra. So that is something that I'll be waiting to see and hear how that is going to go down. Me not think I can bear. When I can bear, me I go make the choice. When I can bear for listen to Kamina Johnson Simmet. Is the usual lie about the diaspora conference. Me not think when I go hear no new lie. When I go look on a stiff longer neck, literally. Me go make uno decide if we want to hear Kamina Johnson Simmet. But Jamaica people, if uno don't help we, whether on social media, fight the battle cannot be won. If we don't help we fight the battle, it cannot be won. There are active things on the ground that is needed. A lot of us vloggers are working tirelessly. Rattigan coming from another end and he's using the law effectively against them. Let us all do the work on the ground. Stop looking at the immediate now. Noel Williams, how are you? And look at the future you're going to build for the next generation. Look at the rights and the privileges that you're going to secure or protect for your children and grandchildren. Come on. We, this generation, have it hard. So we definitely don't want another generation to have it harder than we. It is the reason why then we should make sure all of we come on board in the fight to make sure better come to our country. Because if we don't, people, it's not gonna get any better. Better only comes when we stand and fight for it. It don't just turn up overnight and come grace and greet you. It's not like that. It's always a struggle for better. Always. The more we're going to protect another generation. Come out of the wicked thief in church and we're thief off on the money. And other people were in the church and have that social connection. When you start pulling the money up together to buy business, invest in a business, buy shares in a business. The one cocoa full basket or the one away over here and the one away over there. So nah, go cut it. We have to come as a collective, as a conglomerate, the whole away working towards one goal. White people across Europe are not friends, you know. Everybody hate the British, everybody hate the German. The French hate the British, the Spanish hate the British, the Italian hate the British, the German hate the British hate the French, the British hate the Germans. White people are not a homogeneous group. It's only when them go war over people, material, and land, white people become a homogeneous group. No care how bad you see white people live across Europe. When it comes to them marching around the world and go steal other people's things, they are united. It's a united front. And what I'm asking you, black people, beyond all the division, we're going to always have Aunt Jemima's and Uncle Tom. We're going to always have all sort. But we must have a common cause. And our common cause can be the fight against oppression, because we don't want to get into the cultural, religious, or the malakirous divisions and the color divisions and class division or whatever. Wherever we are as black people, we catch a certain type of fire of oppression, poverty, hold back, lack thereof, find it hard to break through the glass ceiling. Evelyn Michaels, good evening and welcome. Until we start to do it as a group, people, the single one cocoa full basket now go work. So we need to have a common goal, a fight against oppression, because we're not going to unite religiously, we're not going to unite culturally, we're not going to unite pan class, we're not going to unite pan politics. Let's unite against oppression. Wherever we're there, we meet that the one day. Wherever we're there, Simone Beckford, Pamela Okola, how are you? Wherever we're there, we meet oppression. As Black people, even when we're rich, we meet a certain type of oppression and racism. And that is something that we can unite around to save another generation. But if we continue waiting for God and Lady Sa and the rest of prophet them to continue steal from Uno and build up them church and them big house them, we're going always in another situation here. The money where Black people are take invest in a church at time for no invest in our community and business for no generation, wealth creation. Are you Black people keep the church them rich across Africa and the Caribbean and in the Americas? And keep the Western religion rich because on the whole dear to no tithe and offering. We make our children go without need to make sure pastor and the church hierarchy enrich themselves. Some of the things me mad, but me like the way the madness and the dunce. There's two things me proud of about me. It's been mad and been dunce. Me proud of them too, something there, because in this world, if you're bright and sane, you're gonna have to dolly through some hoops of political correctness and climbing the glass ceiling step by step and all of them something there. Wake up to the church, Black people. You have wasted a lot of your time, energy, and money in a satanic system where all them there for do is put your spirit to sleep and continue to steal from you while them hold on upon your land. You know, see, church, I tell you, say, them sorry about the crime where them commit against you. Them a go no back some of the little pastors of land, them where them thief, where them still a hold on to, where them thief found. Holy power will buy land in the slave compartment them. At the church you no buy them from. Church and state go hand in hand. In a slavery, at the church hold the land for the state. And Black people today still are empty them pocket, give to the church, while them children have to dip on street or sell drugs or do otherwise, because nobody no want employ you to pick me because them have a vested interest to make sure the Black race don't become economically powerful. Because if we become economically powerful, we're going to be also become military and politically powerful as well. So it's a concerted effort to keep us in this position. And this is why you see our governments operate in the way they do. Well, we did think say, we get rid of the white one, them now. We have Black government. Life a go better. But the truth be told, when the white Michael Manley and the white Siaga was running Jamaica, it run better than some of our Black leaders, particularly this one that runs our country. You know, the politician can turn up and tell you Jamaica is a Christian country. Lie, Dr. Cassantrop. It's not true. Jamaica is a secular country. Uno should be shame for talk say a Christian country have so much crime, corruption, and murderer, and misogyny, and rape, and child abuse. Uno no shame. For talk say a one Christian country have so much under its belt. And go up on podium, go spread the misinformation. Because nobody not dead if it tell you no say no and no so it go. Or all when them know so no tell lie. Them stay silent so they lie. No, Jamaica is not a religious country. It has never been. It's a secular country where every bloody thing goes, every and anything goes. Jamaica do not have religious rules. But you see, when these people get on them podium, and because we don't have mainstream journalists to challenge their utterances, them speak it, and then people will hear it, walk away believing said gosso. No, it's not true. Jamaica is not a Christian country. It was never a Christian country, and it will never be a Christian country. It has never been. It's just not true, Dr. Thorpe. It's a lie. It's misinformation. And don't forget about we're telling these blatant lies in public. Because you know, since you want to lose it, pan crime, and you can't control the country, and corruption and everything is all place. We're not going to use the God wolf to pull over people. I see when they look at Batman in Europe, America, Europe and England. I tell everybody how him and Andrew Holness God fearing. Lie, you know, a criminal, you know, a thief and murderers. You helped to stab Jermaine Jr. to death. Andrew Holness helped to sanction and prevent the investigation of you and Patrick Bailey killing Jermaine Jr. And you do not come use God pull over where I hold so rude. Stop it here, man. But I want to thank you all for being here this evening on the Drive Time London. Join us back tonight for the People's Point of View. It will be 11 o'clock UK time. Eastern time, I think, 5. For some people, 6 or 7. When you know me dunce when it come to number, don't hold me guilty to no number. But join me back here this evening. Yeah, man, and press the thumbs up. We now walk on beggy peggy over here, you know. Or if we don't start, give the thumbs up. Me I go start put up cash up. Me I go start put up what the foreign one your name? PayPal and them something there. Since as it looks like a ungo and a finger for donate to Zelle and what the other one name and cash up and all of them on a finger get jiggy. So me go start put up then something there because you know in the like no Zelle not England. Lorraine Barrett, how are you? Zelle not England. No sir. GoFundMe in England or something where you will go to prison for. 2 young ladies just get prison sentence not much long ago over the what you call it? GoFundMe for the Black Lives Matters. But give the show a thumbs up, people. It's a lot of work to sit down and prod through to find some of them things that we may not sit or have the time to watch to bring it to you and to shed light on every lies that they told to us on a daily basis. So continue to support in the program by hitting the like button, and we always appreciate your support by making sure you turn up whenever time you get that ping that Global Television is live. I really appreciate that support. But let me tell you how the robots and the algorithm system work. If the robots see that you are liking or sharing the live, they do absolutely the same. So once they see you start to like and share it, they start to recommend it to all sorts of people who watches things within that type of content area. So support the program, man. Otherwise, me I go turn beggy peggy pan ya on nah. Well, like it. Thank you very much for being here this evening on Global Television. We really, really appreciate your support. And remember, we're asking for about 20 of you to subscribe to bring Global Television to 13K by the time we come back tonight. Thank you very much, and see you right back here for the People's Point of View tonight. Good evening from the Global Television Group.